Wendy is at a facility doing her best to be her best. She's taking it day by day. People forget that she deals with grave disease.
They are lying, and he's claiming they're lying. They're signing her up for projects that she's not ready for, including a possible unscripted.
Here's something to think about. What happens when one of the sharpest tongues in the entertainment industry, Wendy Williams, seemingly finds herself silenced? And not just silenced, but caught in a whirlwind of hospitalizations, desperate cries for help, and a guardianship that she's compared to a prison? The story surrounding Wendy Williams is nothing short of surreal. It's tragic, mysterious, and downright chilling. Let's dive into it. Picture this. Wendy Williams, once the queen of tell it like it is daytime television, is reportedly seen waving her arms out of a fifth-story window in New York City, clutching a handwritten note that simply reads, "Help, Wendy." That's not the kind of headline you expect from someone who, not too long ago, ruled the airwaves with her unfiltered commentary and larger-than-life personality. But there it was, plastered across media outlets like something straight out of a movie. And just hours later, Wendy was escorted out of her assisted living facility by several police officers and loaded into an ambulance, headed for yet another hospital evaluation.
And welcome back to The Factor on new concerns over former TV show host Wendy Williams' well-being. Today, she was taken to a New York City hospital for an evaluation after sending out a message asking for help.
It's a scene that raises so many questions. Why was Wendy, the same woman who once fearlessly called out the biggest names in Hollywood, resorting to throwing notes out of windows? And what was she so desperate to tell the world? The plot thickens when you learn that this isn't an isolated incident. Wendy has been embroiled in a high-stakes battle over her own life, her guardianship, her freedom, her finances, and even her ability to step outside of her residence without permission. It's a tale that feels more fitting for the script of a psychological thriller than real life.
The last we saw, you were leaving with police officers going to the hospital.
Right. I'm currently at the hospital.
You're currently at the hospital. What's going on there today?
Here's the deal. Wendy Williams has been under a court-ordered guardianship since 2022, a legal arrangement that's left her finances and personal decisions in the hands of others. Her guardian, Sabrina Morrissey, claims Wendy has been suffering from significant cognitive impairments, pointing to diagnoses like frontotemporal dementia and aphasia. But Wendy, she's not buying it. In her own words, she's declared herself mentally sound, insisting that she's being held against her will and describing her guardianship as nothing less than a prison. She's gone on record saying she's not allowed to leave her assisted living facility, even comparing her living situation to being locked on a memory unit floor, surrounded by individuals she claims are far worse off than she is. Why am I here? What is going on? She's publicly questioned. And honestly, that's what everyone wants to know.
I'm exhausted, you know what I'm saying? I am exhausted, and I wanted to go to the hospital to talk to the doctor, you know?
What's even more jaw-dropping is the timing of it all. Just as rumors surfaced that Wendy was gearing up for a comeback with an appearance on daytime TV's The View, this dramatic incident unfolded. Coincidence? Maybe. But for a woman who built her career on exposing secrets and stirring the pot, it's hard not to wonder if there's more to the story. Wendy's former show producer, Suzanne Bass, even teased Wendy's return with excitement, calling for her to be free in an Instagram post. Yet, instead of celebrating a return to the spotlight, we're left with images of Wendy being ushered into an ambulance. Her face, a blank canvas of exhaustion and silence.
Do this deal, and you hear somebody else say that she's losing memory, so how we know that she even knows that she's in the right frame of mind to even know what she's doing?
And then there's the note. That cryptic handwritten plea for help. What exactly was Wendy trying to communicate? Was it a message to her fans? A call for intervention? Or something more sinister? Perhaps a warning about forces working against her? After all, Wendy's guardianship has been shrouded in controversy from the start. Her financial accounts were frozen by her bank, reportedly due to concerns over financial exploitation. And while her guardian insists that Wendy's cognitive impairments are severe, Wendy herself has adamantly denied those claims, going so far as to say she's passed competency tests with flying colors. She's even had an independent doctor weigh in, reportedly clearing her of the mental incapacities her guardianship is based on. Yet despite all this, the guardianship remains in place, and Wendy remains trapped in what she describes as an unyielding nightmare.
Correct. He had those tests. She's been deemed she is not incapacitated. I passed with flying colors.
I know.
And, I think it's great news, and it's public, and everybody knows, factually that Wendy's not incapacitated.
Adding fuel to the fire is Wendy's increasingly strained relationship with those around her. Her family, including her son Kevin Jar, has publicly voiced concerns about her situation, with some alleging that the guardianship has cut them off from Wendy entirely. And then there's the curious case of Wendy's finances. Reports have surfaced claiming that Wendy once had tens of millions in the bank, only to be told by her guardian that there's now no money left. Where did it all go? Who's accountable for the alleged depletion of her wealth? It's a financial mystery that's only deepened the public's fascination with her case.
Of course a financial advisor. Of course it's somebody to look after my money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but
because
the money that I have right now is all with my guardian person.
But here's where things take a darker turn. Some believe that Wendy's guardianship and her recent hospitalization could be part of a larger, more sinister plot to silence her. And if you've followed Wendy's career, you know she's no stranger to controversy. Over the years, she's made enemies in high places, calling out powerful figures for their alleged misdeeds, sometimes with little more than a microphone and her signature, "How you doing?" catchphrase. One name that keeps popping up in conversations about Wendy's current predicament is none other than Sean Diddy Combs.
Because she wanted to put up a picture of him getting his pants pulled down.
It's no secret that Wendy and Diddy have a complicated history. Back in the 90s, Wendy famously accused Diddy of misconduct, a move that allegedly cost her her job at the time. Over the years, she's continued to hint at secrets she claims to know about the music mogul, secrets that reportedly made her a target in the industry. Fast forward to today, and Diddy himself is facing a tidal wave of legal troubles, with accusations piling up against him like a house of cards. Could Wendy's hospitalization and guardianship be connected to her knowledge of Diddy's alleged wrongdoings? Could she hold the key to exposing something, or someone, that certain individuals would rather keep hidden?
I seen him do it before. I seen him even tell people on the phone before, like he did Wendy Williams.
It's hard to ignore the parallels between Wendy's cries for help and her career-long mission to uncover the truth, no matter the cost. And while there's no concrete evidence linking Diddy's current legal woes to Wendy's situation, the timing is enough to raise eyebrows. Could it be that Wendy, who once prided herself on knowing everyone's secrets, has become a victim of her own fearless pursuit of the truth? Or is this simply a tragic case of a once vibrant personality succumbing to health struggles beyond her control? What's clear is that Wendy's story is far from over. Her hospitalization is just the latest chapter in a saga that's as complicated as it is heartbreaking. And as questions swirl about her guardianship, her finances, and her connection to powerful figures like Diddy, one thing remains certain: Wendy Williams is not someone who goes quietly into the night. Whether through her own words or the actions of those fighting on her behalf, the truth about what's really happening behind closed doors is bound to come out eventually. The only question is, will it be too late?
And we need some help. So two police showed up, where I was, at the coterie. And so I was telling them, the same. And the next thing you know, there are two more police. So there are four in total. And I was talking with Gina, and saying, go ahead, Gina.
As the narrative shifts from Wendy's desperate plea for help to the broader context of her battles, both personal and professional, it's impossible not to wonder, how did things go so wrong for the woman who once seemed untouchable? And what role, if any, do her past conflicts with Diddy and other high-profile figures play in her current predicament? So let's talk about the elephant in the room: Diddy, Sean Diddy Combs, the music mogul, the bad boy kingpin, and, let's face it, one of the most polarizing figures in the entertainment industry. Why does his name keep cropping up when we're talking about Wendy Williams and her current situation? It's not just coincidence, is it? There's a history here, a tangled web of animosity, alleged sabotage, and whispered secrets that we can't ignore. So buckle up, because this is where things get even messier.
And she was practically burned at the stake for talking about such. And now it's all come full circle.
For years, Wendy Williams has had no problem speaking her mind about Diddy. And let's just say, it hasn't exactly earned her a spot on his Christmas card list. Their bad blood dates back to the peak of Wendy's radio career in the 90s, when she was known for her fearless and often explosive reporting on hip-hop culture. She didn't just flirt with controversy. She ran straight toward it with a megaphone in hand. And one of her favorite targets, you guessed it, Diddy.
When she put out those pictures of the dude pulling his pants down, and it looked like some gay act that was going on, he got on the phone.
Now, let's rewind to 1998, when Wendy was working at Hot 97 in New York City. According to multiple rumors that have swirled for decades, Diddy, then riding high as the founder of Bad Boy Records, allegedly had a hand in getting Wendy fired. Why? Because she dared to say things on air that others wouldn't even whisper in private. Wendy hinted at secrets about Diddy's personal life and business dealings, and let's just say he wasn't thrilled about it. In fact, it's been said that Diddy used his influence in the industry to put pressure on the station's executives, essentially forcing them to let Wendy go. Whether that's true or not, the timing was suspicious. Wendy was gone from Hot 97 in the blink of an eye, and she didn't exactly leave quietly.
He said, let me tell you this. When I get back to New York City, if she's on a radio station, he's talking to a radio executive.
But let's not forget, Wendy wasn't the only one who seemed to know too much about Diddy during that time. Rumors were swirling about his alleged control over the music industry, and whispers suggested he had a knack for making problems, or people, disappear when they became inconvenient. Several insiders claimed that Wendy's firing wasn't just about protecting Diddy's image, but about sending a message to anyone else who might want to spill industry secrets. And let's face it, Wendy wasn't exactly the type to take a hint and stay quiet. Instead, she doubled down. Her dismissal from Hot 97 might have closed one door, but it flung open several others, cementing her reputation as someone who couldn't be silenced, no matter the cost.
He said, nobody that I deal with, nobody that I know is going to do anything with y'all. No business at all.
What makes this even more intriguing is that Wendy wasn't just speculating. She claimed to have receipts. Over the years, she hinted that she had information and sources that could blow the lid off Diddy's carefully constructed empire. Whether it was financial dealings or personal relationships, Wendy made it clear that she was sitting on a treasure trove of knowledge that could seriously rattle some cages. And while she didn't always name names, her cryptic comments were enough to make waves. Could it be that her willingness to speak out is what put her in the crosshairs, not just back then, but even now? Could the same fear of exposure that allegedly led to her firing still be haunting her to this day?
When we got back to New York City, Wendy Williams was in Philly at a new station.
Fast forward a few years, and Wendy was thriving despite the setback. She moved on to WBLS, where she continued to build her reputation as the queen of gossip radio. And guess who was still a recurring topic on her show? That's right, Diddy. Wendy doubled down on her claims about him, refusing to let the past stay in the past. She even wrote about him in her 2004 memoir, saying she had a certain level of contempt for him because of the hell he put me through. But here's the kicker. She added that she didn't hate him, which is classic Wendy. She knows how to keep the drama simmering without letting it boil over. But let's pause here for a moment because this feud isn't just about professional rivalry. There's a deeper layer to it, one that involves power, control, and a battle for narrative dominance. Wendy has always prided herself on being a truth teller, someone who exposes what others want to keep hidden. And Diddy, well, he spent his career building an empire, carefully curating his public image, and staying ahead of any controversy that might tarnish his brand. It's a clash of opposites. Wendy's unfiltered honesty versus Diddy's calculated control. And when those two forces collide, sparks fly. One of the most infamous chapters in their feud came in the mid-2000s, when Wendy claimed on her radio show that Diddy had sent members of the R&B group Total to confront her. And by confront, we mean allegedly threaten her outside the station. According to Wendy, the group jumped out of a cab ready to confront her over comments she'd made on air. She even said her then-husband, Kevin Hunter, was there to witness the whole thing. Now, whether or not this actually happened is up for debate, but the story became part of Wendy's legend, a testament to her willingness to go toe-to-toe with the most powerful names in the business, no matter the cost.
Is he this gangster that behind the scenes is that him? Or is that people
Shout
running?
out to Wendy Williams.
And speaking of cost, let's not forget that Wendy's boldness has come with consequences. Over the years, she's made plenty of enemies, and some have speculated that her current troubles, her guardianship, her financial woes, even her hospitalization, could be connected to her past feuds. Could Diddy, or those within his orbit, have a role in what's happening to her now? It's a question that's hard to ignore, especially given the timing of everything.
And then what's the stuff that's happening to Wendy Williams? Do you think this is all connection to?
Of course.
Let's talk about Diddy's legal troubles for a moment, because they're impossible to ignore. In recent years, accusations against him have piled up like a never-ending stack of tabloids. From allegations of misconduct to claims of exploitation, the list goes on and on. And while Diddy has denied many of these allegations, the sheer volume of them has raised more than a few eyebrows. It's a situation that's eerily reminiscent of other powerful figures who faced a reckoning after years of whispers and rumors. And guess who's been one of the loudest voices warning about Diddy's behavior for decades? Yep, Wendy Williams. It's worth noting that Wendy has never been afraid to call out Diddy's alleged actions, even when others stayed silent. She's talked about his so-called freak-offs, his relationships, and his business dealings with a level of candor that's rare in the entertainment world. And while some dismissed her as a sensationalist, others saw her as a whistleblower, someone willing to speak truth to power, no matter the backlash. But here's the thing about speaking truth to power. It makes you a target. And Wendy knows this better than anyone. Over the years, she's faced lawsuits, threats, and smear campaigns, some of which she's openly attributed to her enemies in the industry. And while she's always managed to bounce back, her current situation feels different. The guardianship, the hospitalization, the claims that she's incapacitated. It all feels like part of a larger narrative, one that's being controlled by forces beyond her reach.
He accuses her handlers of taking advantage of her wealth, fame, and inability to make a proper decision. He believes her team is ignoring her mental and physical health.
And that brings us back to Diddy. Is it possible that Wendy's current struggles are connected to her past conflicts with him? Could she be paying the price for knowing too much about one of the most powerful men in music? Or is this just a tragic coincidence, a case of health issues and legal battles spiraling out of control? The truth is we don't know. But what we do know is that Wendy's story isn't over, not by a long shot. As we dive deeper into this tangled web, one thing becomes clear. Wendy Williams and Diddy are two sides of the same coin. Both have built their careers on commanding attention, controlling narratives, and refusing to back down. But while Diddy has thrived by keeping his secrets close, Wendy has built her empire by exposing them. It's a dynamic that's as fascinating as it is explosive, and it's one that continues to play out in real time.
Son said it in the doc. If you watch the whole 2-minute trailer, her son said she talks about wanting to work all the time. He said, I think she's worked enough. She needs peace.
So where does this leave us? On one hand, we have Wendy, a woman who spent her life fighting to be heard, now seemingly voiceless and trapped in a system that's taken away her autonomy. On the other hand, we have Diddy, a man whose empire is under siege, facing accusations that could bring his carefully curated world crashing down. It's a story of power, control, and the high stakes of living in the public eye. And while we don't have all the answers yet, one thing's for sure, this is far from over.
I genuinely feel compassion for her. I do.
As we wait for the next chapter to unfold, the questions linger. What really happened between Wendy and Diddy all those years ago? Is there a connection between her current struggles and his ongoing legal battles? And perhaps most importantly, will Wendy ever get the chance to tell her side of the story? Only time will tell. But until then, we'll be watching, waiting, and wondering what comes next. After all, if there's one thing Wendy Williams has taught us, it's that the truth always has a way of coming out, even if it takes longer than we'd like. As Wendy Williams' story continues to unfold, we're left with more questions than answers. What do you think is really going on behind the scenes of Wendy's guardianship and hospitalization? Could her past conflicts with powerful figures like Diddy be playing a role in her current situation? Share your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Let's keep the conversation going and see if we can unravel this mystery together. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more celebrity gossip and intriguing stories. Until next time, stay curious